Hello, and welcome future educators to another informational segment brought to you by the Georgia Future Educators Commission. In this video, we will be exploring the teaching strategy of discovery learning and give you some examples as well as some non-examples of discovery learning. First, what is discovery learning? Well, it is a system based on inquiry instruction and constructivist learning theory. It primarily focuses on students exploring and manipulating tactile materials. By using prior knowledge and previous experiences, students are able to link new facts and relationships to their old information. Basically, they are building on the foundation they already have.
In the first video, a non-example, we see one teacher teaching a science class about gravity.
Alright, class. Today, study about gravity. Now, who saw the game last night? Yeah. That's one. Who else? Alright. Before we learn about gravity, you need to know about football. Alright? Now first, we have offense and defense in football. Important thing on offense, you got to score a touchdown. Who knows what touchdown is? What's touchdown? You. Little Red Riding Hood. What's touchdown? What is a touchdown? You. What is a touchdown?
Notice how the teacher does not engage the students in inquiry learning, nor does he give the students the opportunity to explore the learning process. Another thing you may notice is that the teacher lets his personal interests overtake the classroom, utterly inhibiting the learning process.
Now let's take a look at a positive example of discovery learning in another science class.
So I have a big clip and a small clip. Which one's heavier?
Big clip.
The big clip's heavier. You sure? Here, hold it and find out. Which one feels heavier?
This one.
Be positive. Let Yoo Jin try. Which one's heavier? That one's heavier. Okay. So which one's gonna fall and land first? If I drop them both at the same time, at an equal distance apart, and an equal distance up and down, which one will land first?
The big one.
The big one. You sure? Okay.
No. Yeah.
Yeah? You sure?
Yeah.
Maybe no. Maybe this one will land first. Smaller might go faster. What do you think? Okay. Bye. You notice the teacher engages her students by asking questions about gravity and performing an experiment involving the class, encouraging them to make predictions and intuitive guesses. Also, she facilitates the learning process to ensure students draw the correct conclusions. She uses simulations to lead students to these correct conclusions, which is just one of many ways to implement discovery learning in your classroom.
Now let's take a look at math classroom, where Miss Petunia Browning is attempting to instill a basic knowledge of fractions within her student to no avail.
Today, we're learning about fractions. Okay. Fraction is a part of a whole. Okay? Now let's know what fraction is. Who can tell me what this is? Anyone?
Circle with
What, young man? What were you saying? As you can see, she makes several mistakes here in attempting to practice discovery learning. Instead of involving students in a candy bar activity, she eats the candy bar, creating more of a distraction than a teaching tool. Her student-directed questions are unclear and often misleading. Now let's see an example of discovery learning in action in another math classroom. You guys ready to learn about fractions? Second.
Yay!
Yay! But before we start, I have a little treat that I want to share with you. Yeah, it's half. I just said I give half to you and half to her. You have some and she has some. It's fair, right?
No.
Why not?
Because she has so much more than me.
She has more? Oh, she has more. So that's not half?
No.
Well, why is that important?
Because I want more chocolate.
So let's say this is the chocolate bar. And I want to split this in half. And so how do I know what's half?
Cut in the middle?
Here?
No.
In the middle, like right here? What about, could I do it this way?
Yes?
I can do it both ways? It doesn't matter, right? As long as it's equal. And we can call that 1/2. And that is a fraction.
As you can see, she is now involving students in the learning process, helping them to create their own foundation about fractions, using a known example of equal parts to guide them to the importance of equivalent fractional parts.
Notice the similarities implementing the discovery learning process we've reviewed thus far. The basic structure remains the same, although the subject matter changes. In both examples, teachers simulate an active learning environment where students are able to explore a topic using their prior knowledge bases. Let's take a look at a social studies classroom where Mr. Johnson is teaching about geography, or trying to.
Let's look at this here picture thingy. It's spinning. Read that to me. No. It says North America. Okay. You read this to me. It says Asia.
As you probably noticed, Mr. Johnson did not do anything right. In fact, he didn't teach anything at all, which is definitely not discovery learning. Now, let's take a look at social study teacher who demonstrated not just teaching, but discovery learning.
Alright class, so this past few weeks we've been studying from different places around the world. We've been discovering where different things come from. So today, I thought it'd be fun to bring a couple different items. You're going to look through your books and you're going to look at the facts on these different items and you're going to find out where they came from. For each of these items, they have very distinct patterns on them, drawings, wording. So what I want you to do, I want you to give to your partners, I want you to take a look at the items, I want you to look through your book, and I want you to identify each distinguishing characteristic of the item before you and where they came from. Okay? So, feel free to go ahead and put your hands on them, touch them, just play around with it. Make sure you look through your book and see if you can find out where they came from. Alright? Let's go ahead and do that.
Looks foreign. Notice how this teacher engages his students in a search to discover the origins of different artifacts instead of just shaking a globe in their faces. He gives students the tools to discover the answers for themselves. The second method is much more effective and is another example of discovery learning. Lastly, let's take a look inside Miss K's classroom where she has just begun a language arts lesson on adjectives. Pay attention to some of the minor issues with communication.
Okay, today we're going to learn about adjective. Do you know what adjective is? No. Okay. adjective은 형용사야. 알았어? 형용사가 adjective이라고. 뭔 말하는지 모르겠어? 말 좀 해봐. 나는 말해봐. 나는 이거 무슨 색깔이냐? 이거 무슨 색깔이야? 말 좀 해봐. 핑크? 잘. 형용사! Miss K had clear communication issue with her class. Despite her attempt to teach them, there was virtually no student engagement, which is a key factor that plays into discovery learning. Let's take a look at an example of discovery learning in a language arts class. Hello, class!
Hello.
How was your weekend?
Fine.
Good. Okay. Well, guess what? I went to the zoo this weekend. Yeah.
I want to go to the zoo.
You want to go to the zoo? Anyway, alright, well today we have an activity for you. Just look at paragraph A and look at paragraph B. And tell me what's the difference between paragraph A and paragraph B, okay? This one is best. Paragraph B, the yellow one. Okay. Yeah, this is better. Why? Why do you think it's better?
We hope you have enjoyed this informational video and now have a better understanding of not only what discovery learning is, but also the many ways in which can be implemented in all 4 subject areas in various ways.
같이 와!